Hi, this is Darren Hall, cornerback for the Atlanta Falcons, and you're watching The American Athlete. So Hitman Hall was the nickname I had from my whole youth years, actually. Playing defense, and I came into my own as a defensive player. Growing up, I played both sides of the ball. I played running back, but I think my dad kind of had a vision for me to play defensive back. So he would always have me, like if I was on defense or growing up, just working out and training, I was kind of practicing defensive back stuff. So I think I was destined to play this position. So my dad was my coach from 6 years old to 13, 14 years old when I entered high school. But even though he wasn't my actual coach, he was someone in my corner who was always pushing me to play football and to train harder, taking me to all my training sessions and all my practices, just making sure that I'm on top of my game. Going to San Diego State was a great experience. I feel like sometimes I think about if I would have went somewhere else or somewhere bigger, but I feel like that was probably the perfect school, the perfect fit for me. Just with everything they have taught me and being a man, they really pushed mental toughness there at San Diego State. So there were some things that we had to endure that most people probably don't endure at those bigger schools or in Power 5 schools. And just being at a smaller school, you kind of have a chip on your shoulder. So going there was probably it was a real good experience. I met some real good people, had some good relationships with the coaching staff, the strength coaches. So I feel like it was really the best fit for me. The draft process in the months before were pretty exciting and interesting. I was in Vegas with my family, some close friends. First day, I'm just watching, seeing some of my friends get selected, which is pretty exciting. Second day, I'm like, okay, so this is probably around the time, so it didn't really get nerve-wracking, but there were some people asking me questions in the room. I kind of had to just leave for a second, just mellow out and just let's just watch and just enjoy it. The third day comes, and it's the early morning on the third day, so it's like 9 o'clock. I just woke up. I sit down on the couch with my parents, and I get a phone call immediately, and I was like, oh, here it is. I knew it was gonna happen, but when it did happen, it still felt surreal. All the hard work that I've put in since I was 6 years old is actually coming to fruition. Something I noticed differently from college. The speed is different for sure. I think everything just happens faster. Every player is a little bit smarter, probably take that time to actually watch film. In college, a school might not be as good as your school, but in the NFL, everybody's good. It's all the best of the best, really. So you can't ever take a play off because very easily score this play if you take any time off or just not paying attention mentally. So just making sure that you're on top of everything. That's the biggest thing, that mental focus every single play is probably the biggest difference. The advice I would give to a younger person really is just you gotta love the sport. There's gonna be some times where you're not really feeling up to it, up to working out, or just you're too tired or you're drained, but you gotta just get up and get through it. Mental toughness is probably one of the biggest things that an athlete can have, because without that, it could break you. In college, I actually took some counseling classes. I minored in counseling and social change. That's also where I was working on my master's. One of the biggest things for men especially is that there's a stigma about being tough or thick-skinned. Nothing can hurt you. Nothing's just stay strong. But I feel like it's a good thing to feel every emotion. Holding something in is not really good for you at all. It can cause a lot of tension, a lot of hate, anger. And I feel like that's part of the reason why there's so many angry men, because they're just not being able to express themselves. So off the field, me and my dad partnered with a few people in the local community just to bring in some football camps. And I actually hosted my first annual football camp last March. That was actually a big success. It came out with 200 plus kids. I opened the door to see to open for the signups or the registration, and the line was just far, super far. I was like, there's no way as many people came out to my first camp, but that was pretty big. Ball by Faith. It's a brand that me and my dad put together. His vision was live your life by faith, but being able to ball by faith. It's more so of a athletic apparel, kind of like Nike, I would say. This next year is really just coming to my own for real on the field. I set my goals high every single year, all pro ball. I think anybody and everybody would want to be in the Hall of Fame. That's the end-all goal for me. If you shoot for the stars, you fall somewhere in the sky, you're going to have some pretty good goals. I think the Super Bowl is coming.